Please come in. You're right on time. The door only opens when the clock strikes midnight. Georgia and Hannah are preparing to broadcast from the belfry. Just like this old bell tower, they have many stories to tell. Some old and some new. Follow me up these stairs, but mind your step. Ah, they're waiting for you.
Hey, I want everyone to know, I don't know what happened to my previous document where I had everything organized so perfectly, but it's gone, and I had to fucking copy and paste a bunch of shit into a Google Doc, like maybe 3 hours ago? 3-4 hours ago? I can't quite remember.
I feel the need to hold this.
Sure. It'll pick it up, and as soon as we... Okay, so, second thing...
I'm gonna drink all this before you're even done with the intro.
Slow down! Look at me!
You wanna be... Alright, go.
Second thing you all need to know is that I have had many a beverage tonight. We're in New Orleans, and so we've been a-drinking. That was the point of this episode. We're going to talk about some New Orleans things. We're going to drink a little bit whilst recording. Like, I'm currently holding a giant fleur-de-lis plastic container that says Big Easy Daiquiris, French Quarter, New Orleans. It's green, and it's full of...
It's not full, it's half full.
It's like very much half full, maybe like verging on 2/5. Maybe like a... No, yeah, I'd say it's about half. Because anyway, cup is weird. It's a fleur-de-lis. It's got a hurricane in it. Mm-hmm. Very melted. Georgia also has one. It's pink. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what's in it.
Some passion for shit. I also bought Hannah a boob hat, which she's not wearing.
Where is it? Oh. It's over there. Anyway, everybody.
It's a balloon. It's a balloon hat, but
so,
it's boobs.
Two things you need to know. One.
The only important thing, it's a boob hat.
One, I don't have that much information because my shit got ruined and I'm really mad about it. And second of all, we've been drinking.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm going to talk about the Rougarou. Were you going to say something, Georgia?
No, I was thinking about burping.
Take your time. It'll come.
Oh, that's fucking bullshit.
You did it in your mouth, dude. You should have just let it out. Anyway, okay, so the legend of the Rougarou has been a part of Cajun folklore for centuries.
True blood, that's all I got.
True blood. It is said to have originated in French-Canadian folklore brought to Louisiana by French settlers who migrated to the area in the 18th century. The name is derived from the French words... okay, this is where I'm going to fuck up, because I just confirmed the French pronunciation.
Yeah.
So what you all have missed is normally Georgia burps actually regularly throughout the podcast. We just edit it out. Anyway, the loup-garou... Loup-garou is how it's spelled.
Loop-a-guru.
Loop-guru. No, it's Loupgarou, which means one who looks like a wolf, essentially.
It's the loop-guru.
Yeah, when you put the words together, it means one who looks like a wolf. It's wolf person, wolf man, whatever.
Mine is just the love guru.
Mm-hmm.
This is the loop-guru.
Yes. The term was used in a French poem titled... Le Loup-Garou by Joseph Bouchette, a Canadian surveyor and mapmaker who traveled extensively throughout the world.
Bruschetta sounds so good.
Bruschetta. Oh my god, I have so much bruschetta at my house right now. Man. It's really far away. Also, according to Barry Ancelet, I think that's how you say his last name, a professor emeritus of Francophone studies at the University of Louisiana, at Louisiana.
What is the point of that?
I don't know, man. Well, I'm sure there's multiple University of Louisianas.
Are outside of Louisiana?
Well, I mean, like, okay, we need to talk about this for a second. So there's a university, or there's an Indiana Universities.
Oh, Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
That pisses me off a lot.
So there's probably a University of Louisiana elsewhere.
Why is it Indiana University if it's in Pennsylvania?
I couldn't answer that for you.
It doesn't make sense. It's Pennsylvania University. If it's...
So this Barry Ancelet, Professor Emeritus, says that one's concept of the Rougarou is dependent on the storyteller more than any literary or cultural tradition. Because, we've been on this...
Wait, I have an idea.
Yeah?
I'll hold it while you talk.
Okay.
And tell me, how did that make you feel?
Poopy.
What's new?
Nothing. I'm very poopy.
Indeed.
What were we talking about? Yeah. Because Barry Ancelet, Professor Emeritus of Francophone Studies at the University of Louisiana at Louisiana, said that one's concept of the Rougarou is dependent on the storyteller more than any literary or cultural tradition. We have been on a kick about storytelling. I just wanted to reiterate that this is another one of those monsters or creatures that has come about as a result of multiple tellings of a wolf man sort of creature. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but the Rougarou specifically is a little bit more transformed than the loup-garou from French Canadian and from what the French understand as wolf man. Because it also incorporates the native and enslaved people's interpretations of
versions of werewolf stories, like we already talked about.
Shapeshifters, right?
Yeah.
So there are some differences.
Werecats.
Werecats, yeah. There are some differences between the loup-garou and the Rougarou. In stories of the loup-garou, a person often transforms fully into a wolf. These are the French-Canadian people's accounts. The Rougarou, however, maintains their human shape with just a wolf's head. What was that name that we called it in the werewolf episode?
Therianthropy. Oh, yeah, therianthropy is when it's like the head, when it's just the head.
It's just the head, or like it's some part like of it, but not the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, therianthropy is the head,
okay, yeah. They are also thought to maintain human intelligence and awareness of who they are. I know we hear in some of these vampire stories about how... Vampire? Did I say vampire?
Yeah.
And how some of these
we're not there yet.
Stories, and some of these werewolf stories about how you kind of lose your mind when you become a werewolf. You lose a sense of who you are. You lose your soul.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
So tiny.
According to legend, the Rougarou is a human who has been cursed, transforming into a terrifying creature with the body of a man and the head of a dog or a wolf. You can really hear the roar. The transformation is said to occur when a person breaks a Lenten vow, leading to a curse that can only be lifted after 101 days. Accounts like these, this is just me talking, remembering what I was looking into. Accounts like these really differ in how many days it takes to be lifted from the Rougarou curse. So another instance is if you encounter a Rougarou, if you attack them and draw blood, they will be broken from the curse and it will be inflicted upon you. Like the blood,
that's not a good deal. The
curse will exit through the blood and enter you somehow.
But it's also like that group that I talked about where if you got turned into a wolf for, was it like 7 years? And if you didn't if you didn't consume if you didn't consume human flesh in those 7 years, then you get to be human again.
Yeah. 7 years is a long time.
Sure is.
I've only been out of college for about 5 years, and it's kind of...
I was thinking about that, though. Like, wolves don't really attack humans.
No, not really. Especially recently.
No.
We're so...
Sometime Shannon should have to tell you about the time that a wolf stalked him all the way out of the forest he was hiking through.
I think I'd be scared.
He's into bears. He's not into, people are into wolves or bears normally, and he's a bear guy, not a wolf guy.
I thought he was a whale guy.
Well, he likes whales, but out of the big scaries, there's bears and wolves.
The big mammals with teeth. Well, whales are mammals.
Yeah.
To clarify.
The furry ones.
The furry ones walking.
The furries. Yeah.
The quadruped furry.
With the fangs. Yeah.
Anyway.
He is a bear guy, not a wolf guy.
Okay.
And, we actually just joked the other day that the reason this wolf didn't fuck with him was because it's it could tell that he wasn't a wolf guy.
Yeah.
And so it just was well, fuck this guy, and then left.
I just saw a post on Facebook from someone I've met through Lisa Marie.
Mm-hmm.
The title of the post said, "My worst fear has come to life."
Oh my god.
And she had 2 pictures, and they were of a mountain lion. Watching her.
The first thing I learned when I started doing field work on Mount Rainier was if you go into the woods to go to the bathroom, take a big fucking stick.
Yeah.
Because
mess around.
They don't, that's the thing that will scare them off the most, is a big fucking stick.
Otherwise, you're just fucked.
Which I already have.
You got some silly little... Oh, I do too.
I've got some stuff stuck in my...
We'll have to do some
in my delete. In my fleur delete. In my fleur? I don't know.
Fleur delete.
Is this the fleur or the lee?
Bruh.
This point right here.
What does fleur de lis stand for?
Flower of...
Zed. Good morning.
Oh, he's got his headphones on.
Oh, I'm sorry. What does fleur de lis mean? Flower of what? What does fleur de lis stand for? Flower of what?
Oh.
It's the life.
I'd rather have a fleur de mort. A flower of death.
No, say it correctly.
No.
Okay. Anyway.
Fleur de mort.
So, depictions of... Oh my god, we're 14 minutes in. Descriptions of the Ruger vary.
A fleur de mort.
What? Buffet fleur de mort. It is typically depicted as a large, muscular creature with fur the color of charcoal or black. If you were unclear on what the color of charcoal
was. Wait, you just gotta do it. This guy.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. I'll do that later.
What's all
its
liquid
eyes are said to glow in the dark.
What? Flower of the iris. I guess it kind of does look like an iris.
Okay.
Also, Seth's here.
Our
future agent.
Its eyes are said to glow in the dark, and it has long, sharp teeth and claws. Some stories describe the Rougarous having a human-like face with a snout, while others depict it...
Can you guys tell we're in a hotel?
Are you conducting an interview right now?
How comfy is your bathrobe?
It's pretty nice, actually.
It could be a little, I don't know, they need to toss some fabric softener in.
Yeah, a little bit softer. It's better than I expected, but it could be better.
Yeah, it's just been washed a few too many times.
Yeah.
Any minute now.
Oh my god. So its eyes are said to glow in the dark, and it has long, sharp teeth and claws. Some stories describe the Rougarou as having a human-like face with a snout, while others depict it with the head of a wolf. It is said to be a dangerous creature known for attacking and killing livestock and humans. That comes from both the French Canadian... Okay, I say both. I mean all of the French accounts, French Canadian, as they travel down towards the south, and then eventually into French Louisiana. Mm-hmm. All of these accounts say they were attacking livestock and humans.
Do you think it's weird that the French were so instrumental in the settlement of Illinois, and yet we don't have any werewolf stories? there?
I'm sure we do. Maybe we just haven't heard of them because all of the tribes were pushed out, and at least the French colonizers were mostly killed off during the Beaver Wars.
Beaver Wars.
Need I go on?
I'd kick some ass in a beaver war.
But so, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of trading in the mid to late 1700s when the United States became a country.
Yeah,
And,
I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. And French colonial settlements all along the Mississippi River, I'm assuming, have stories of the cryptids.
I wonder also, it might be that, down here is a swamp. There's trees everywhere.
Yeah. I'm going to get into that a little bit.
There's nowhere to hide in Illinois, It's all open plains.
Right. Although at the time, there was quite a bit of swampland throughout Illinois. But you're right, it was like the Great Plain. It was prairie land. Mm-hmm. It was mostly open. Certainly more trees than there are today. Because
the swamps were like in the north and the south, like where we lived. It was prairie. Yeah.
Yeah, because the water was so the water draining was incredible. Hence why so many people have settled there and grown agricultural.
Boo. Yeah.
Hashtag we hate corn.
I really like corn, though.
It's in everything, so we really can't hate it that much.
But I also really love a corn on the cob.
Me too. I can't say anything. It is, okay, Rougarou is said to be a dangerous creature known for attacking and killing livestock and humans. It's also said to have the power to curse those who see it, leading to a lifetime of bad luck and misfortune. According to legend, the only way to protect oneself from the Rougarou is to carry a piece of silver, which is said to repel the creature.
Are you guys okay?
I think they care.
What the fuck is going on out there?
In recent years, there have been several reported sightings of the Rougarou, including one in 2016 in Houma, Louisiana. A video posted online showed what appeared to be a large, dark figure with glowing eyes walking through a residential neighborhood. I watched the video. It was a load of shit.
Boo.
I know. I was really excited.
Fake news.
I'm gonna guess the pronunciation of this because I didn't Google it. Petra? P-I-T-R-E? Petra?
P-I-T-R...
Peter?
Peter.
He said, on the back porch in the evening, if there was enough breeze to keep...
Remember Pater?
Oh my god. If there was enough breeze to keep the mosquitoes off, people would tell stories. We learned on a tour that we recently took that in New Orleans, they're a bunch of gossips. Yeah.
Yeah. We fit in here.
Yeah, we sure do. It makes a lot of sense because when people don't really have a lot to do, it's too fucking hot outside to go anywhere. All you gotta do is sit and hang out and just talk.
It's fucking April and it's too hot. It's too hot for soup. It's too hot for anything.
Yeah, it's definitely too hot for soup. I think admittedly, it's quite comfortable. I think if the sun isn't out, I'm pretty much good.
It's not too hot for daiquiris and ice cream and iced coffee, which is what's keeping us going.
Agreed. So, Peter, the one story that he remembers the best was told to him by his father, who actually first heard the story about the Rougarou from his own father, so Peter's grandfather.
Uh-huh.
In this story, the central character was a young oysterman.
Ooh.
So a man...
Like a fisherman, but he got get them oysters?
He collected oysters in, like, the little traps.
Mm-hmm.
And
like Stardew style, yeah.
Yeah, he collected them and sold them to restaurants in New Orleans. He was a young oysterman who was haunted by the Rougarou, and he actually lost his friendships and his fiancée as a result because of his fear. Isn't it disgusting? Eventually...
Or was he just an asshole? And
he could have been an asshole. That's honestly what I think, but let me keep going. Okay. Eventually, he was able to kill the Rougarou with a walking stick sharpened from the oyster shells that he walked by on the docks every day. Because I don't know if anyone has ever handled oyster shells, but they can be, they're coarse. Some of them can be pretty sharp. Mm-hmm. But Peter said most commonly the Rougarou was described as big as a man, covered with hair, and with big teeth. Teeth? With big teeth, but the saddest eyes.
Aww.
I know.
Poor guy.
Because presumably it was like just a person who was cursed, right?
Well, yeah, and then they're going to be sad because they're like, please pay attention to me, break my curse. But all you hear is...
or some sort of wolf noise, like...
Yeah. That's a dog.
Well, I mean, yeah, wolf or dog-headed. So some other writers, including Ancelet, Ancelet, used the Rougarou as an allegory for having a dual identity. Ancelet described the Rougarou as a way to describe having a foot in two different worlds, specifically between the Anglo-American and French worlds in Louisiana.
Oh.
So it's a bit of cultural mingling. We've talked a little bit about that before, about, like, the fuck did we say? Sorry, Mom.
We've also talked a lot about identity.
We have, and how, like, with a lot of the things we've talked about, it's come as a result of different cultures interacting with one another. Especially, we're probably going to talk more about this when we have our Americana season next year in 2025. But at least what I've talked about in, like, maybe in the werewolf episode with the Japanese and Chinese, where I say werewolves with air quotes here, those are sort of understood as the same thing, essentially, but they are different. Because one has come from another, it was just adapted for the other culture based on their own, like, historical experiences in the landscape. I just pointed the mic at Georgia, and she's
like,
So a good example of this kind of thing is, I think maybe it was the kitsune. Does it taste like liquor?
No, I just choked on my saliva a little bit when I was trying to drink. That's all the way at the bottom.
You are at the bottom. I mean, I've been talking, so. So the kitsune, which I'm probably going to talk about later on in this season, is a bit of an amalgamation come from Chinese folklore as people started to colonize the rest of the Asian continent. Culture was interchanging quite a bit fucking thousands of years ago. You know, there weren't as many people on the...
This plastic smells like a dildo.
Can you repeat that?
I said that this plastic cup smells like a dildo.
That's fantastic. Thank you. What was I saying?
The kitsune.
The kitsune, that's right. As people were colonizing the Asian continent as we know it today, obviously there weren't as many people as there are right now. Right now there are like 8 billion people or whatever. Fucking thousands of years ago there were maybe like 3 million across all continents.
Yeah. I feel the need to clarify that I used to sell dildos, like, as a job, and that's why I know what they smell like.
So the kitsune, the concept of the kitsune, Chinese and Japanese understanding of, I know I've totally gone off topic, because we're talking about the Rougarou, right?
Uh-huh.
But I just needed to clarify. The Chinese and Japanese concept of the soul and demons and the spiritual world are so intermingled and also different at the same time that while I can't remember the name in Chinese, shut up. I just talked about this maybe a few weeks ago when we...
take anything seriously right
Shut up! Just like the Rougarou, it is a combination of cultural influence. Back to my actual text and not me just ranting. Stories about the creature have also been used to inspire fear and obedience. One such story about the Rougarou was told by elders to persuade Cajun children to behave about 120 years ago.
I love that.
Another variation suggests the beasts will hunt down and kill Catholics who do not follow the rules of Lent.
I've heard that before, yes.
Louisiana may also be the only place where a scary creature that punishes misbehavior is also an excuse for a party. Because they have the Rougarou Fest, and there's, like, parties about it around Halloween time.
Back for that sometime.
Yeah, sometime. In Houma, Houma, every October they celebrate the tale with the Rougarou Fest, perhaps based on the notion that werewolves are said to gather and hold big parties, dancing and howling around the fire before they go out on a hunt. At least that's the story that's told in America. Uh-huh. I've never heard about werewolves going out and hunting, or going out and partying. I've heard about them going out and hunting, like at the full moon when they all transform.
Right.
But never about a big old bonfire or anything like that.
Yeah.
But now...
But also, bonfire, like having a bonfire in the fall, that's very... That's very...
Yeah.
Look on your face when you did that. I can't. Having a bonfire in the fall is very pagan.
What do you mean? Like an official event bonfire? Or just like in general?
In general. Like the origin of the bonfire, the bonfire. And like having bonfires at that time of year to like ward away the evil spirits and like create warmth and light through the cold nights. That's very pagan. Which we could talk more about if we do origins of Halloween things sometime.
That is true. I will say, I think there are some regions of the world where it may be a little bit more connected to the pagan. But I was just thinking of my poor boyfriend over here, who has told me that bonfires usually happen in the summer, at least where he lives. He may, attest to this. I don't know. Because it's the drier months, and in western Pennsylvania, you don't have as much risk of forest fire as you do out west.
Yeah.
West of the Rockies or around there. And you have to burn your trash.
Yeah.
These towns and counties, whatever, aren't gonna recycle or do anything with this trash. Yeah. So you try to burn as much as you can. And obviously you're gonna do that in the summer when it's warm enough outside and you can kind of have a little, marshmallow thing. So
but trash fire stinks.
Not entirely, if it's all paper. I know one of the things that Seth and I quote all the time is this thing that I think his dad said, where it was in summer, I think, when everybody was still living at home and they were making a lot of paper trash, and they would take all of the paper trash out to an old oil barrel and then burn it. And his dad was complaining about how often he had to do it, and he was like, I burn every goddamn day! It's really funny. He sure did. Anyway, is that all I have to say about that? It's not. I have one more thing. Okay. But now the story of the once terrifying Rougarou is changing along with the coastal wetlands it has long called home. Over the last century, hurricanes, sea level rise, and problematic development progress, such as damming the Mississippi River, obviously happening in New Orleans because of all the hurricanes they're subjected to.
Hashtag climate change.
Yes.
Hashtag capitalism.
These have caused Louisiana to lose more than 2,000 square miles of land.
God damn.
This may seem
Damn.
this may actually seem like a lot, but Louisiana is a pretty large state.
Big. I mean, it's still a long land to lose, but it's probably not as noticeable because there's more land to lose.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like fucking Rhode Island.
Yeah, Rhode Island is so small. But so, like Minnesota is sort of land of lakes.
Yeah.
Like the butter, like where they're from.
Land of lakes.
Land of lakes. Like, they're the land of the lakes. Louisiana is like the land of the swamp. You know, so much of the state already is just fucking water.
Yeah.
That's flooded in. So,
2,000 swamps are gonna dry up.
If it's 2,000 oh my god.
Squile, yes.
2,000 square miles of specifically land and not like wetlands and everything, that's actually quite a lot.
Yeah.
If you think about it. It's
how much
quite
of it
a bit.
can you actually build on?
Right.
Like, you really even can't build on this shit here, clearly, because...
you can barely land here.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that fucking settled here? What's his name? Is it Dauphine? Is that him? But so whoever settled here knew that we learned on the tour last night, knew that the land here was entirely swamp, was just not good. There were a lot of dead who just were here already before anyone even settled. And, a lot of dead that came here afterwards. But, yeah, not a great place. Okay, let me finish up. For decades, the equivalent of one football field of coastline was lost per hour. So while the rate has slowed, in the last decade, the region's long-term prognosis remains grim, and as the stomping grounds for the Rougarou have disappeared, so have tales about the beast. So essentially, everybody, the Rougarou is a bit of an amalgamation, all about... I did take some screenshots of a few things I wanted to mention. Hold on. Oh yeah, I have this other source that says, naughty children or Catholics who didn't practice Lent for 7 consecutive years might find themselves turned into one.
It's always 7 years. Like, you can't eat human flesh for 7 years. If you turn into a wolf, you can't eat... if you don't practice Lent for 7 years, you turn into a werewolf. Yeah. If you're the 7th son of the 7th son, you turn into a werewolf. It's always 7 werewolves.
I don't know what that is.
Some fucking Catholic shit, probably. Sorry, everyone.
Sorry, Catholics.
Sorry, Catholics.
Laura McKnight wrote about the Rougarou for Halma Today and recounted a tale that said, in a 1971 Louisiana Folklore Society publication, the Rougarou appears as a calf struck by a motorist on the highway, and when the driver got out of his vehicle, the calf had vanished, and an uninjured man, apparently a Rougarou, wolfhead, as we're saying, was walking away from the spot where the creature was hit. Ooh, spooky. Some other legends also say that if someone who's victim to a Rougarou talks about it, they then become a Rougarou. That's kind of silly.
Sounds people gossiping.
There's one thing, I just took a screenshot of this. The beasts don't seem to be the brightest beings, and they can be easily outsmarted. You need only lay 13 small objects, like coins or beans, by your doors and windows. An approaching Rougarou will attempt to count the objects, but he can't count higher than 12. And that's why I talked to Georgia and my partner Seth earlier about how to count in French. I wasn't sure if that was applicable here.
But also, like, 13 has, a lot of superstition around it. So... maybe that has something to do with it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But he'll be distracted by trying to count up to 13. He won't be able to bother you.
Counting in French is hard.
That is true.
For me personally. Counting past 10 in French is hard for me because then I just switched to German for reason.
I honestly only know it through 10 because of Hamilton, so... Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Seth? Okay. He's not going out. My boyfriend is tired.
I mean, we really put him through the ringer today. He had to put up with our drunk asses all over the quarter.
It's true.
And, in antique stores as well. Which is stressful.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about, in the werewolf episode, we talked about European werewolves. Well, okay, so we had 4 werewolf episodes. We didn't talk... We only had 2? Oh, we only had 2. Yeah. We only had 2. Oh, I wanted to mention...
We only had 2.
I forgot. I had a correction that I needed to make. I was going to do that at the top of this episode. So I referred to a certain religion as Jainism. That is Jainism. Only recently found out through some friends of mine. It's actually Jainism. Jainism.
Okay.
Never knew that. My entire life, I had heard it as Jainism, like Jainism.
Yeah. Not to be confused with giganticism.
Not exactly. And I know we had a listener sort of report back to us that they couldn't really understand what the fuck I was saying. Sorry, Mom, by the way.
Hi, Melinda.
And I just wanted to clarify, it's Jainism. It's a religion in China. And India. So that's what I got, homies. The Rougarou. Everyone kind of uses it to scare their kids into doing what they want to do. They're like, oh, you better do what I say or the Rougarou's going to come and get you.
That's that kid in the video museum. Alright, you want to hear about some vampires?
Sure.
Alright, okay. Oh, good, they're vacuuming outside now. Oh, okay, well... You choke on that fucking hurricane. Your face isn't super red anymore.
Yeah, good. That's good.
Yeah, also... If you haven't already noticed... We can't really do anything about the sound quality.
If you're wondering, we're at a Wyndham hotel. Because, that was the cheapest place we could get near where we're having an archaeology conference in New Orleans. And I say the cheapest when really it wasn't all that cheap. But hey, we made it.
We're here, and now I'm going to talk about vampires in New Orleans.
What?
Oh my god.
What?
I read an interview with a tour guide who said that he thinks New Orleans is such a common setting for vampires because of Anne Rice.
Oh.
And Interview with a Vampire. I meant to look up when Interview with a Vampire was published, but I didn't because I have ADHD.
I'm too busy sipping, so...
You can do that yourself if you're curious. Also, they said... So many noises happening. Oh my god, we're Cosmo and Wanda!
Oh my god! Oh my god, are you kidding? Holy shit. Wait. Anyway, vampires are really cool.
So Anne Rice, but also because of how European the city is in general. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
It is a very European city.
Very. French.
So,
Italian, Irish.
Spanish. Mm-hmm.
I guess English. They kind of suck.
Not really. I wouldn't say this is an English city.
No. Only because we're now speaking English, that's really it.
So...
But that was, the United States.
Yeah.
Purchasing Louisiana.
So let's talk about colonialism. Yay!
I want to hear about colonialism.
So New Orleans is the third main outpost established by... I swear to God, you can't post pictures of my feet on the internet.
Sending it to Shannon.
Okay. Tell them we're Cosmo and Wanda, though. Okay. That's my boyfriend. They're finally vacuuming up that goldfish cracker. It's been 4 days. Bye. Okay. New Orleans is the third...
Sorry.
New Orleans is the third main outpost established by the French along the Gulf Coast. Pretty much settled by men. Nothing but men. Especially men who are into trapping and hunting and trading and exploring. Which meant that the Catholic Church started to get worried about the future of the colony if it didn't get any wives to grow the population. So then France was like, okay, bet. And so they took women from brothels and jails and loaded them onto ships and sent them over here. Which wasn't really what the priests had in mind when they wanted women to support the future of the colonies.
Well, the priests, honestly, could probably take anything that they could get, you know?
Not in this case.
Oh, okay.
They weren't happy. It didn't go well. Most of these women went to the first two outposts, which were Mobile and Biloxi.
Biloxi?
Biloxi?
The first time I ever visited New Orleans was in 2018, and it was part of a trip that I took with a mentor of mine. And we had a conference in this town. It's apparently Biloxi.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Biloxi. So we've found that down south, probably because of the Spanish-French influence, they pronounce a lot of stuff weirder than you would expect. So Biloxi, oh my god, even I am having issues now, is spelled Biloxi. You would expect that to be Biloxi. But it's Biloxi.
Yeah, but it's also like Louisville, so that makes sense to me.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know shit down here.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess the more you know.
So anyway,
something happening.
It's the vacuum is what's happening.
Yeah.
So in 1728, when they wanted wives here in New Orleans, the king, who was Louis XIV, you know that guy. Here are some girls that were raised in convents and orphanages, so they're pure and virtuous. And they were between the ages of 12 and 25, and they got shipped over here. The crossing took months, obviously, and they stayed below deck for the most part because it wasn't really appropriate for women to be above deck.
What the fuck? That's so rude.
And these girls were to
It's so gross down there.
I know. I wanted to shriek so badly. So these girls were to attend a school run by the Ursuline nuns until marriages were arranged for them. So the legend goes that as soon as the girls got off the ship at the dock, the men, all their future husbands, all commented on how unnaturally pale they were and said that their skin began to blister and burn in the sun.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, they're fucking pasty French girls who have been not in the sunlight for like 6 fucking months.
They've been down in the yonder of the boat.
In the belly of the beast.
Sorry, the ship?
Yeah, boats and ships, not the same.
A ship is a boat, dog.
But a boat's not a ship. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
They also carried with them their trunks filled with luggage, and these were called cassettes. And then through the evolution of linguistics, is that my boyfriend? If you don't like this episode, I would like for all of you to blame Chris, because it was them who first said, you guys should do a drunk episode.
And I want all of you to know, we wanted to do it anyway. So Chris, we love you. Because truly and deeply, you just get us. Fan. You just understand us.
I told you. Look at that handsome guy.
In case Shannon just sent a video of my son.
That was a Milo Meow TM. Sorry, I'm touching you.
Why'd you say sorry?
Because you know how I am about touching people.
I have no problem. You don't have to apologize to me.
So anyway, through the evolution of language... It's like a TikTok I sent you.
We'll just take it.
Like, enjoy it while you can.
Yeah.
Listen, everyone. Touch is my love language, but only with my person. And when anyone else touches me, I'm like, get the fuck away from me. So Hannah's just making the most of me being drunk right now.
Oh god, I'm so forgotten.
Okay, so anyway, through the evolution of language, the cassette became casquettes, and then that became casket. So these became known as the casket girls. And
wait, did you say what year this was happening?
So they came over here in 1728. I believe I said that at first.
I think you did, but holy shit, I did not remember.
Yeah, me neither.
We really devolved, I'm not gonna lie.
We got distracted by the Milo Meow TM.
And I was taking a funny video. Okay, early 1700s, yes.
So shockingly, they were arranged into marriages that weren't great.
Pardon?
That timing seemed appropriate. So they were often mistreated, and they weren't really given any resources by their husbands, who were often gone for days on end to hunt and trap and explore and trade. So many of them turned to prostitution to make ends meet.
Good for them.
And so... Oh, we took a girl there? Oh.
I'm so tempted to.
I'm so invested in the gossip that is going on outside the store. These are like frat bro central guys. So when word of this got back to the king, when he heard that the girls were being mistreated...
King who?
This is Louis the 14th.
Okay.
He was like, no, fuck that. Send them all back. So he had all the girls sent back to France.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't really understand the motivation here. Like...
They made it all the way there.
I know. He wants them...
That costs a lot of money.
I know, and I'm like, did he have them sent back because they were being mistreated, or did he have them sent back because they weren't fulfilling the purpose?
Okay, I think it's the latter.
Yeah.
It's the early 1700s.
But they're not fulfilling the purpose because they're being mistreated.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Either way, the fact that he was like, no, this isn't working, send them back, instead of just being like, well, they're on their fucking own. I feel is kind of shocking for the time.
I would have hung out with them. Yeah.
So, in preparation for this return, the girls packed all of their cassettes up, supposedly, and they got put in this room on the 3rd floor of the Ursuline convent, and the room was locked. And when the nuns went to fetch all the luggage, all the trunks were empty, and so for whatever reason, the nuns decided there was trickery afoot. Supernatural trickery.
I love that word. I just love that phrase.
Trickery afoot.
There's something afoot.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I mean, I know afoot. Sorry, Mom. I know afoot means...
a fuck.
That it's like close, it's close to you. Because afoot it's right on your
It's
heels.
Happening, yes.
It's happening right now.
So I don't really know why they made that jump in conclusion. Like, that seems an extreme jump, in my opinion. But this all evolved through time to be that they must have been vampires. One thing said that both the girls and their possessions vanished at the same time, and then only the cassettes remained. So maybe that's where it stems from. Overall, unclear. Also, I didn't really take any notes over this, but there was one point where 2 journalists were said to have tried to get up into the 3rd floor to see if the caskets were still there. And the next day, they weren't really journalists, they were like Blair Witch style documentarians. The next day they were found beheaded and drained of blood.
Oh my god.
Outside the convent.
Yo. Okay.
And we've walked past the convent.
Yeah.
It's pretty public.
Yeah.
Like, there's a wall around it, but it's not, like, out of the way of tourists or anything, so... That's weird. And of course, on foggy nights, people say you can see these pale girls wandering around, like, that area around the convent.
On foggy nights, of course.
On foggy nights, yeah. Listen, bitch, you go right now, you can see a pale girl walking around. It's me. The end. Okay.
Sorry, I was just wondering what was happening out there.
I don't know what the fuck is happening out there.
Party.
It's so loud here, like 10 out of 10 overstimulating constantly. But we're here. That's why we're drunk.
Shocker.
Okay, and then also in the 17th century. No, 18th century. Numbers. In the 18th century, the Count Saint Germain. So,
we learned a little bit about him the other night.
The next two stories I tell, we learned a little bit about from our tour guide, Richie.
Who was incredible.
Who was awesome, yes. I will say, the sources that I used were not good. They're all from the internet. They're all, like, blog articles and things like that. So, I don't know. Like, obviously, Richie talked about sources that they used, like there were police records I know they mentioned. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they were lying. I'm just saying I could not find those sources. I did not have access to any sources.
Right. Like, it's very possible that they had, like, maybe gone to some library.
Some archive, yeah.
First-hand account.
There's also the fact that they full-on said some of these stories are embellished because we don't know, and we can just kind of get away with doing it.
New Orleans is a bunch of gossips, then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, my story, the stories that I'll tell will vary from the stories that we heard the other night, but I'm fine with that. I don't really care. So, in the 18th century, the Count Saint Germain, he's a French guy. Official records say he was born in 1710. Voltaire, the author of Candide, I think we've mentioned him before, he said about the Count, he is a man who knows everything and who never dies.
Gross.
He is said to have known 6 languages and be an accomplished artist and violinist and a good storyteller, and that he used alchemy to grow diamonds, and he searched for the elixir of life, much like the guy from Frankenstein that Frankenstein influence.
He sounds a little bit like Nicholas
Flamel, yeah.
Or Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Not this part, because he's described as intelligent, witty, charming, and never seeming to eat or age.
Gross.
There must just be a party happening on this floor.
I don't know what's happening. Because it was not this busy earlier.
No, it was like as soon as we started recording, then everyone was like, okay, let's do everything now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, it's fucking dinner time on a Friday.
Yeah, happy almost 7 p.m.
Happy New Orleans, everyone.
4:20 Eve.
Yeah. So this guy traveled all over Europe and then came to settle for some time in a German castle with the Prince of Hesse, as in Hessian soldiers, like we've talked about before. It kind of sounded like they might have been roommates, you know?
Oh.
I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe I got. But during this time, his death was recorded in 1784. So at this point, he's supposed to be 74 years old. But after his death was recorded, people still claimed to see him around, and so a lot of them just thought, well, he just started heading west, you know? Maybe he faked his death to get away from his roommate.
Aw, it didn't work out.
Or something like that. So we fast forward to the 1900s when a guy calling himself Jacques Saint Germain shows up in New Orleans, and he seems to share a lot of characteristics with the man known as the Count Saint Germain from 200 years prior. So he gets an apartment, which we got to go to the other day, and we'll post pictures on our socials. And he has parties there all the time, and still no one allegedly ever sees him eat. And the story goes that one night he has a lady friend over. Some say she was a prostitute, but honestly, what woman doesn't history call a prostitute at this point? Like, every woman ever recorded in history is a fucking sex worker.
There are so many women now that just love to have sex. Women have wanted to have sex for forever and ever.
Well, it doesn't make them prostitutes.
Why have people why have men looked down on them for that in all of history? Couldn't tell you.
Hypocrisy.
Okay, I will say this is like Western history.
Yeah.
It's certainly not been the case in Indian history, especially Eastern Indian,
Women are sexy. Okay. I mean, they are. She might be a prostitute. We don't really know. I'm going to say she's not. They're starting to get friendly, a little frisky, you know. And he tries to bite her neck. So she takes the first opportunity she can to bail via the balcony. Like, second story balcony. And the people on the ground below are like, what the fuck? That woman just jumped off a balcony. What the hell's going on? And so they, run over and make sure she's okay, and they see she's bleeding, so they send someone to go get the police. Police go over, and they just ask him if he can come to the station tomorrow to, make a formal statement, and everything's settled for the night. But he never shows up. Shocker. So they go over to his house, and he's not there, and so they have a little poke around, and upon investigating, they were said to have found clothing from different time periods, all with bloodstains, which seems a little silly. Mm-hmm. Richie did not say that. No food or kitchen cooking utensils, necessities, anything like that. But also, it's the 18th century, not a single man knows how to cook for himself, probably.
Not even the bachelors.
Not in the stories that we've heard, anyway.
No.
Throw back to the guy who kidnapped the lady to cook for him.
Oh, the Tiger Man?
Yeah.
What the hell was his name? I don't even know.
Ding Dong McGee.
Ding Dong McGoobermeister. Bitch ass.
And they also found bottles of red wine that weren't red wine, but blood. Blood. Do you remember, it was the same people that did Let's Get Some Shoes, but it was all the muffins, and they talked about the different flavors of muffins.
Yeah.
And it was like blueberry. Glass.
Yeah.
Blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do know what you're talking about. I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember who it was either, but anytime I say blood, that's how I hear it in my head. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So then some people thought that he was a serial killer, especially of prostitutes like Jack the Ripper, but okay. I've been down the TikTok rabbit hole lately. There's that girl who talks about how she thinks Edgar Degas was Jack the Ripper. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because he hated women, but he was also fascinated.
Sure did.
But he was fascinated to see with the dancers, how bodies moved, and how it would make sense because he was in Paris during that time, and how easy it would have been to get from Paris to London and back.
What's that exhibit that shows the musculature
and the human body one? Yeah.
Traveling exhibit.
Yeah,
you should go see that. It's terrifying. Only seen pictures.
I've only seen pictures too, but they have that big horse and the guy on the horse. Yeah. So, and she looks at his letters and whereabouts he was at the time, and he was in Paris a lot, and just talks about how easy it would have been for him to get a boat from London to Paris fairly quickly, and how he was so into human bodies, but so against how women worked. And then paired with the theory about how serial killers always have, not always, but usually have some kind of spot in their brain that doesn't work, and he was losing his sight, that whole part of his brain was shutting down.
Yeah.
And then paired with his fascination of, how the body moves, and then also the fact that he always portrayed those voyeurs in his paintings of dancers, and how it was easy for him to do that because he was one of them, and he knew how they worked, and he was part of that crowd.
Gross man.
And so she's fully like Edgar Degas was Jack the Ripper. It's fascinating. I'll send you a TikTok about it. Because it is really interesting. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so some people still claim to see this guy wandering the city. Of course. But also, my theory, Count is an inherited title, for one. So, like, maybe it was, like, his great-grandpa or something, you know? And he's like, I could pretend that I'm the same person as my great-grandpa.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or also, it could have just been a guy, you know, those, like, not Instagram, like Facebook threads, Tumblr threads of people who go to the museum and they find the people that look like them and they, like, reenact the paintings. What if he just saw a portrait of this guy and is like, oh, what if there's just some rando? Oh my god, fuck off, everyone.
Oh my god, that was Shannon!
Where?
On your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was...
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's someone I recognize.
It's been that since I got back from Washington.
It was your home screen. I was like, I'm not paying attention. I don't look at your phone. Are you kidding? Except for when I'm drunk, and then I'm like,
I don't know what yours is, but I remember it being a picture of...
This is
it used to be a picture of Seth. Or you and Seth, I can't remember. I always forget what my name is in your phone. Can you please tell everyone what my contact is saved as in your phone?
I just dropped my phone to the ground. Because there's a group chat happening. Yeah, it's George the Sixth. Like King George the Sixth. Okay, thank you.
The one who died on a toilet. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, that's my theory on that guy. Like, it's either an inherited title, like it was a descendant of him who just wanted to keep things spooky, or it was a rando who was like, I kind of look like this guy, I'm just gonna pretend that I am him and keep it going.
Hey everyone, I took a...
Okay, this one we heard more about on the tour. Mm-hmm. And this is the story of John and Wayne Carter.
Okay.
Which is not John Wayne Carter.
John Carter?
Not John Wayne. No, I never read the book either.
I watched the movie.
Also, so there's John Carter and Wayne Carter. Mm-hmm. And John Wayne.
And John Wayne.
And the other John Carter. John Wayne Gacy. But this is John and Wayne Carter, who came to New Orleans prior to the Great Depression, and they worked on the docks, because it's a port town here. Mm-hmm. Here be a port town.
We do be here.
The legend takes place in the 30s, during the Great Depression. 1932, maybe 1934. I heard conflicting sources. I think Richie said 1932.
I can't remember. I'm really not good about remembering dates unless they're written down and I'm reading them.
Well, a girl flees down Royal Street to find a police officer, and she tells him this crazy story about how she just escaped from an apartment where she and some other people were tied up so that randos could drink their blood. Mm-hmm. And there are several variations I found on the internet, as well as the version we heard from Richie. So the girl either led the cops to the apartment, or she was taken straight to the hospital because she was fucked up and bleeding and weak and everything. Either way, the cops go over to the apartment while the brothers are still at work. And some say they found 12 people. Others say they only found like 4 people, which I think is what Richie told us. Mm-hmm. And again, either way, some were maybe corpses wrapped in sheets and just kind of pushed out of the way, and others were still alive and tied to chairs with bandaged wounds on their wrists. And they said that the brothers would come around dusk, presumably when they were done with their work for the day, and they would use a knife to reopen the wounds and get the blood flowing freely, and then fill the cups and drink from them.
Gross. That is way more detailed than what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think they also didn't want to go into too much detail because they just talked about how it's right across the street from the Vampire Cafe, which is run by the Vampire Society, and how they, try to do charitable works.
But also sign consensual forms to drink one another's blood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very consent-based, yeah. And then they would rebandage the wounds. So the police waited for the brothers to come back, and then, again, there's multiple versions of what happened next. One is that it took 8 to 10 of the biggest cops on the force to take down these 2 5'6", 160-pound dudes.
That's me, bitch.
The other version says that they both just jumped off the balcony and ran away.
Okay.
But the cops detained them because they were still dumb enough to show up to work the next day.
Yeah, I believe it. They're men.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Regardless, they were said to immediately confess upon their capture and were just like, you have to kill us because we won't stop. So they were basically tried as serial killers and executed and put in their family vault. And the legend says that when the next member of the Carter family died and they opened the vault to enter the body, no trace of the brothers was found inside the tomb. And some people claim to see them roaming the quarter, especially around Mardi Gras.
Why specifically Mardi Gras?
I don't know. Maybe it's just because there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of
people. And it's easy to make someone disappear.
Yeah, it really is. And it's easy to say, oh yeah, it was these ghosts.
Yeah.
And totally not me.
Yeah. And then the victims of the Carter brothers, allegedly, one of them was named Felipe, and he fit the criteria of becoming a vampire himself because he was fed upon 7 times and lived. And I guess that's one of the ways you can become a vampire that we didn't talk about in a vampire episode. And he did a little blood drinking of his own, and is said to have at least 32 victims, and also to have written in his diary about dreams of blood. Which just sounds like PTSD to me.
Yeah, honestly, because if you're... people that claim to be vampires are probably having a thing about blood in some way or another. A fear or a fetish or whatever.
Some kind of hyperfixation.
Sure.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Another one of the victims was said to have become a serial killer himself, with 442 victims. Which seems really specific and also outrageous.
442?
442, and he was said to dissolve their bodies in acid. Where do you get enough acid to do that?
I know, without someone noticing?
In the 30s, 50s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's insane. No thank you.
And another one of their victims was said to have committed herself to an asylum voluntarily.
Okay.
Which is the most likely thing to have happened, and probably the most terrifying in the fact that, it was the 30s and asylums were fucking terrible.
Yes.
And to commit yourself voluntarily to that, especially as a woman with no one to check you out.
You had to be really terrified to do that.
The apartment today is supposed to be haunted. I have a picture of it in the daylight. I didn't take a picture when it was all lit up the other night, but if we walk past there again before we leave, we'll take a picture so we can post that too. The apartment today is supposed to be haunted. It's still rented out by tenants. Some people have been known to break the lease early because there's too much weird shit going on and they're just not having it. Some people who have lived there have said that they have seen 2 men on the balcony jumping off and taking off down the street.
Damn.
So,
without breaking their ghostly legs.
Without breaking their legs. Which, it's not that high, but it's high enough that I wouldn't fucking jump off.
I wouldn't even jump off a 5-foot thing.
No, I also don't like heights, so... And that's high to me, so...
At my ripe old age of 26, almost 27, I wouldn't do that shit. I mean, granted, I mostly sit around all the time.
I'm sure if you're used to jumping off 5-foot walls, then, like, it's different. But I'm not. Yeah. I'm not used to jumping off a 2-foot wall.
Yeah, 2 stories is, like, crazy.
No!
That's nuts. No, thank you.
We also went to we went by the LaLaurie mansion with Richie. That was... I got a spooky picture.
Yes, there was a ghost that walked in front of George's camera.
I think it was just cloudy, but yeah, it was a ghost.
It was a ghost.
Where else? We learned all about Jackson Square and its use as an execution ground. And I will post a picture of Hannah flipping off the picture, or the statue of Andrew Jackson that's now picture. There.
Yeah, because Andrew Jackson did the Trail of
forced
Tears.
Forced
removal and forced genocide of Indigenous Americans. I know we are essentially complicit in this, white descendants of those settlers, pioneers, colonizers.
I'm sorry, my settlers just moved here 20 years ago.
Yeah, but you were allowed to do it because all the white people did it first.
That's true.
But so, despite the fact that we are assigned as part of that, you know, we were born into it. I'm still fucking pissed about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like Andrew Jackson.
And then what else did we do? We learned about the mafia stuff.
God, we learned about the mafia. There's so much going on with the mafia. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because before it was New Orleans, it was Little
Palermo. Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, Spanish, French, Italian,
it's very
English, everybody is intermingled.
Convoluted.
But Little Palermo, that's the Spanish part. They did not call it New Orleans at the time. Yeah, we learned about some priest ghost. That was cool.
Doggy ghost?
Yeah, doggy
priest ghost.
Priest ghost, doggy ghost.
Bloody O'Reilly.
All honestly.
Irish ghosts.
Kind of unassociated. We just learned about a lot of ghosts.
Yeah.
We're actually in about maybe 25 minutes, we're probably going to head over to our next ghost tour.
Ooh.
Very exciting.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't even know what to say. It's
so loud.
All I know is I'm going to be taking some ibuprofen here shortly, and maybe chugging my life water.
And then drinking some more.
And then maybe drinking some more.
Maybe, bitch. You're the one who's like, we gotta get more.
I know, I'm such a lightweight.
Doesn't matter. As soon as you start drinking more, you'll be fine.
Correct. Alright, bye.
This has been The Big Easy. The Big Queasy from The Big Easy.
Wait.
Queasy because our tummies hurt all the time.
New Orleans in progress.
Ghost tours in progress.
I'm fucking gone.
Well, that concludes this week's broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you wish to stay in touch, reach out to us at broadcastfromthebelfry@gmail.com or stalk us on Instagram at broadcastfromthebelfry. Again, I hope you've enjoyed our little show. Please rate and review. And until next week, stay spooky.